Hey everybody, welcome to Here's Out. I am Patrick.
And I'm Paul. How's it going?
Pretty good, my friend. I am ready to kick some ass. And that's the way I wake up every morning because like danger is my middle name and I'm always ready. Unagi, whatever the Ross thing from Friends was.
It is a unagi. Yeah.
Okay, good.
It was perfectly done.
Good
And
memory.
you were like, whatever the Ross thing.
um, but what we're going to talk about is it's not a phenomenon, but the trend, and it's gone back quite a while, so it's not a recent trend, but there is a feature of Hollywood where dramatic actors, people who've had careers, be it comedic, dramatic, a mixture of both, let's just say people who were not traditionally action stars, taking a point in their later career, sometimes in their earlier career, and saying, hey, I'm going to give action a go. Sometimes full body transformation comes with that. Sometimes half body transformation comes with that. But there's a whole load of facets to this that we're going to talk about and entertain you with on this very, very show. So get in the comments. Let us know where you think we're getting it right. Let us know where you think you're getting it wrong. And let us know any good examples you can think of, because the first person I said this to that wasn't Paul before the show, instantly when I mentioned it, started thinking of people and started listing out people who've done this. Obviously, Paul, Monkey Man is out right now. It's in cinemas today. Monkey Man is Dev Patel. I better start pulling some imagery up here at some stage, I guess. Dev Patel, known from
some really nice dramatic stuff, like which goes one of our favorite shows, also the Aaron Sokrins show, which is Newsroom, which is he plays the young tech guy, which is great. His story arc within that TV show is fantastic. Obviously, which is also $1 Million
Slumdog Millionaire.
Slumdog Millionaire.
That was his big breakout hit, the Danny Boyle film. It really launched him to international fame. Quite gratefully, thankfully, he was discovered because he's a great actor.
Yeah, the Marigold Hotel is one of my, like, I don't even want to say like
guilty pleasure.
What a guilty pleasures, because I just think it's just some great actors that are seen as kind of past their prime or something like that, coming together to do a great movie.
Have you seen both
of them are good. Yeah, I love both of them.
I've seen the first one and I thought it was really good. I never got around to the second best exotic Marigold Hotel or whatever it is. So he's done a couple of Marigold Hotels. So he's acted with some of the greats. Slumdog Millionaire, he's, Danny Boyle picked him and it's amazing. Aaron Sorkin, Newsroom. He was nominated for an Oscar in Lion. The Problem with Infinity or whatever the hell it's called, that one. David Copperfield. So he's played a mixture of poor, smart people, just really nice, smart people. He's always played, not always, but he has fantastically nailed lots of roles that call on him to either be a little bit of a dandy, maybe a little bit rich and smart, a little bit poor and smart, but drama and that sort of stuff has been his main bread and butter for what has been quite a long career now, even though he's a very handsome young fella. But Paul, that's changed as of today.
Yeah, as of pretty much now. Today in the cinemas being released of Monkey Man. But there was the thing before that kind of thing that kind of may have been the writing on the wall for what's going on, which is the Green Knight.
I had it here because I thought you might bring it up. The Green Knight was his last movie. Some of it was shot in Ireland. Collective, yay! Yeah. I saw part of the sets while driving over a mountain in Ireland. I was like, what's that? Then realised later on it was for the Green Knight. And it was just in the middle of nowhere in Ireland. It was very nice. I could have gone over and played with it. And I wish I had. Should have taken a picture for this very channel. Paul, I haven't seen The Green Knight, but I know enough about The Green Knight to know its general story. It is more action, let's say, or at least more of the hero character in that sense than he's played before. But it's not full punch-kicking rage.
No, I wouldn't. I would say that this is a thriller bordering on action kind of thing, where, like, his character has a lot more nuance to him, and there is action to it. but it's more about the quest or the adventure kind of thing rather than vengeance or the classics of any action hero kind of star.
Yeah, which is why the image I've chosen for Monkey Man, I didn't bother taking anything too abstract. I took something from their trailer image, just because you can see this is a revenge movie. Lots of people have described it as, John, Monkey Man John Wick or Monkey Wick or whatever the other jokes that are going around are. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I can't 100% say. But if the trailer is anything to go by, and a lot of the early reviews are anything to go by, there is a definite switch to action. Now, also, he directed this, so fair play to him. Taking on your big directorial debut, starring in it, and shifting from, and I'm not going to say your comfortable genre, but having a slight shift in genre for you as an actor, which has a huge physical component. So fair play to Dev Patel. He's not made it easy for himself here.
No, it's quite a switch over from what is usual kind of I guess normal back catalog of show or of movies and stuff like that. I do think it's kind of breaking a mold kind of thing. Moving into this genre, I'd be interested to see it because it's always interesting to see the transformation of, like, I guess, a person or actor who has been in a specific genre of movies, maybe a certain which is lens has been put on them as the kind of, like, sweetheart, or kind of like,
Yeah.
kind of I guess bordering on just like handsome lead man kind of thing, and then transferring into kind of a more gritty kind of, at the end of it he's going to be more messed up kind of, and so it'll be an interesting transformation for us to see Dev Patel like this. I also, Jordan Peele is also the executive producer, so it's obvious that they kind of came together.
Yeah.
And I hope to see, if this is good, I'm hoping to see the more of a collaboration between the two.
Yeah, I'd love that. I've not hidden the fact that I've been a Dev Patel fan for a long time. I will say that interest, because I guess as we go through some of the examples, I think that's one of the first. There's one of the key things. Why do people do this? Well, they do this because people will watch. And why do people watch? We're intrigued. It's intriguing to see if an actor that you associate with romantic comedies or with dramatic thrillers or just dramas can make that switch to being. You have to be able to be menacing to be the kick-ass, even if you're the kick-ass hero. If you're doing it full on revenge movie style, you have to be able to feel menacing. The people who are even on your side because it's the bad guys whose butts are getting kicked, you still have to actually believe that person is, they've got a real dark side because they're able to pick up a table and smash it through somebody's face and then do something equally weird or grotesque with another part of the table. I don't want to get too graphic on the show, but lots of people end up getting table legs stuck through them in various ways.
It's very linked to the worry that we had for which is Timothy Chalamet when he was going to play Paul Atreides for part two. We were very much like, he's done part one, he was good on it, we were happy with it, but in part two he's going to have to portray a little bit more of a menace or a little bit more of a controlled character, kind of for a leadership kind of thing. So that's always, so we were like, oh, maybe it's not going to work out and stuff. And I think this is where the transformation of an actor towards a new genre that doesn't really have a lot of the aspects of the original genre that they're coming from, because I do think that jumping from thriller to horror is very similar. I don't think you'll have too much kind of trouble jumping from thriller to horror too much, kind of thing, unless you're the monster. That's a whole different. If you're portraying the evil, that's a whole different bag of thing. But if you're jumping from drama kind of more to action, that's a big leap of kind of, it's in no way of like stretching the vocal cords in the sense of like there's a massive leap of skill for acting. It's just that it's a lot more physical compared to the cerebral of kind of like emotion portrayed on your face and hand gesture and body language and everything. The drama and thriller may suggest more. So we're always kind of like sitting there going like, are they going to be able to make it? Kind of thing. Are they able to jump from that genre to the other? I think Dave Patel will. I think he'll falter and fall. I think there'll be parts in this movie that will be like, ooh, but overall, I think it's going to be good.
I hope so, and I'm looking forward to getting to actually see it. Now, Paul, I'm gonna throw in a few more big examples. Obviously, thumbnail gave away the good old Better Call Saul's Saul Goodman himself, Bob Odenkirk. If you know him from way back in Mr. Show with David Cross back in the good old days, he is not somebody you're associating with action ever. Like it's gonna have been comedy, maybe being an ass, maybe being a bit of a menace in different ways, but you're not necessarily gonna have seen what came next, which is Nobody. Now, when Nobody came out a few years ago, you remember I completely lost my flipped my biscuits over it because I thought it was just brilliant. Like I
Mhm.
really, really, it's one of those movies that I went to the cinema and enjoyed the filmmaking, enjoyed the performance, in just enjoyment was
Yeah.
the word that I would have given it with my 5 stars on the back of a DVD cover. It is pure enjoyment for me. And part of it was you just didn't. Bob Odenkirk gave such credence to the first part of the character, which is there's a guy hiding in plain sight who's actually really talented and really scary when it comes to hurting people and taking people out. Rather than having Arnold Schwarzenegger pretend to be in the kitchen being like, oh, I'm a nobody and I would never
Yeah.
be able to hurt anyone, even though I look like I could lift this house. That's my Arnold. I didn't think that was how bad my Arnold was. Um, but when the switch happens, it's great when it's the other way around because you've got somebody like this, a great actor. I think Bob Odenkirk's a highly underrated actor. And when it comes to him doing it, yes, it gave a level of verisimilitude to the movie. It made it believable in such a wonderful way. And that's one of the other reasons that certain scripts and certain movies will try and cast, we need somebody who's believable as the nobody, as the everyman. Quite literally, in this case, they were going to call the movie Nobody. There wasn't going to be any point in having Jean Claude Van Damme be the title character.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's a perfect, like a perfect, which goes analogy or a perfect example of yeah, this the certain actors be necessary to move over to the action genre because they need to portray a certain aspect. Because like yeah, there's things where it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger in like Commando, where it's just like he lives up on a mountain, he has a daughter, and then they come to see him, and he's just like absolutely powering through like a pile of wood, and you're just like this guy like there's he's obviously the action hero. Like there's
Yeah.
it's like if anyone who watches anime and they pan around a room like you can definitely tell the heroes because they're all way better drawn. And like that's very similar to what like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone like start like if you put which is nobody into a room with a bunch of other people, he's going to be a nobody. Like that's the whole point. So like which is great. It's like you could literally rename this movie to everybody and it would be exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why certain and so do you think just which is out of interest that I can't remember I'm getting a block of what his name is again.
Give me a hint on
Nobody.
that. Oh, Bob Odenkirk. Yeah.
Bob Odenkirk. Do you think that he made the jump to action because of the movie, or some other reason? Do you think he read that movie and was just like, I think this is going to be real fun, or do you think there was like maybe some kind of business end or something like that, like a contract kind of
Don't
thing?
quote me on this, but I think, and I should have done my research before the show to remind myself, but I think in the run up to before doing this, I think he'd actually had some health problems. And apologies if I'm mixing things up, but I think he had a bit of a scare and was getting himself in shape anyway. And this was one of those things where he's like, I have an opportunity and looks fun and I like the people involved. And it was, there was a certain amount of serendipity to it. In this case, I
Yeah.
think somebody can let me know in the comments if I'm completely mixing up two stories. But I think you bring up a great point of why does an actor sometimes choose to do these things? And the answers are a multitude. I think actually one of our commenters, Brian, yo, hey, how's it going, my friend? Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. There's an example of somebody who wouldn't necessarily have been known for action, and then she did her action movie. But I don't know if she did it because it was an action movie, or if she wanted to work with Quentin Tarantino, or what the motivation there was. It's kind of hard to say, but I would say that at that point in her career, she'd worked with Quentin Tarantino obviously previously. She knew that that had been her biggest career highlight. It was definitely, you know, her agent would have been saying it would probably be a good idea to work with Quentin again. It would be a good idea to have a star vehicle that's built around you. He's talking about making 2 movies.
Yeah.
This is the guy who's saying he's only ever going to do 10 and you're going to be in 20% of them as the lead.
Yeah.
I think we're saying yes to this. So I don't know if it was the action that was the motivating factor when it came to Kill Bill for Uma Thurman, or if it was all the other kind of reasons to say yes.
Well, that's the thing. So we should definitely we're going to ignore kind of, I guess, the business side, as in studio involvement into why these actors may choose, and move to, like, I guess the possible reasons why they themselves would move it. And some of it's probably definitely, yeah, career motivation, in the sense of, like, yeah, having as an action hero, you will have the movie based around you. You become the sole star of the movie, kind of thing. So that there's a definite kind of career, or even confidence and ego kind of, like, choice there. The other thing is that, yeah, you could just decide that you also want to move genre, which I think, like, uh, Dev Patel may have decided that he just wants to try out something new. He's done
Yeah.
his dues in the drama, kind of, like, I'm a nice boy kind of, like, kind of movies, and decided to move into something that he like, can have a little bit more fun with. I would definitely think that that's what Ryan Reynolds went into it, kind of thing, because Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds is one of these people, because he moved from heartthrob comedian into which is into action. I think we think that the Blade Trinity was his first action movie.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, which was probably not the best choice, but, like, he definitely moved from comedic, kind of, like, funny heartthrob person to funny comedic heartthrob action hero.
He's covered every base just by virtue of being the heartthrob super fit person that he is. That lines him up for action anyway. Like, he's not getting built to just get built. He's not doing a Chris Evans, Hemsworth, or Pratt. He's not bulking big.
Yeah.
He's staying sexy fit, I guess, is the way people would look at it.
But yeah, no, so it's an interesting kind of jump for certain people, in the choice of, this is probably just his natural. He wants it to probably be a little bit more fun, show that he has a little bit more kind of physicality towards him, other than his comedic chops, kind of thing. So I definitely think he probably moved into it. Just the Deadpool thing is probably just him wanting to be Deadpool, because he pretty much embodies that character.
Yeah.
But, like, Six Undergrounds and stuff like that, although a terrible movie, I could definitely see why he would want to be the essentially the main member of that team, kind of thing. But he's also done, like, the Hitman's Bodyguard, and Blade Trinity, and what is it called?
With Denzel Washington, the one that I'm trying to think of.
Oh no, I was
House.
thinking Safe House as well, but I was thinking of the computer game one. What is a Nice Guy?
Oh,
Not
Free
Nice
Guy. Free Guy.
Free Guy.
Free Guy.
Kind of thing. So you can definitely understand why he may want to choose to move into it, as it is. He can get more frontman energy kind of going. When you're a comedian kind of thing, you're like, as much as people say that you're the main person, you're more in an ensemble
Quite
of
often,
like other characters and stuff like that.
You're a lead, co-lead, or part of an ensemble, usually, as he proved with Sandra Bullock in the
Proposal.
Exactly.
So, like,
Paul, weirdly though, just because you triggered me on something there. There is you widen your profile, If you have action on your CV, you can do it. But it also means that you can then do dramatic action. So you can get to work with somebody like Denzel. That's where, Safe House was in my mind. Because, okay, it's an action movie. There is no doubt about it. He's knocking shades out of Denzel once or twice, and there's all sorts of car stunts and all sorts of stuff. But you wouldn't necessarily have to be an action star to get that role. They'll put a lot of actors who are not just action actors into that role. But because you show that you can do a lot of different things and your CV shows that you're able to do them all, I'm sure that, agents, and I'm sure that casting directors have made it clear to most of the people out there, it's a pretty good idea to have the rounded CV, even if you want to keep doing your intellectual dramas. When there's a chance to work with somebody like Denzel, and it's a movie that's going to be 50-50 thriller to action, we want to make sure that your CV shows that you're not going to let us down for 50% of that.
Yeah, the rounding of the career, rounding of the CV. Yeah, I could definitely get that as a motivator to move into one or two possible kind of like action movies and stuff. But then there's people who've just moved into kind of full blown action, and that's what they're doing now from now on. Is
there's a timeline, Paul. There's BT and AT. It's before Taken and after Taken, or should I say before Phone Call? Because Liam Neeson, I've thrown up. Liam Neeson had a heck of a varied career. I'm not saying that he had never done anything actiony or been, swashbuckling in any way. He was playing a lot of saviors. Rob Roy, Michael Collins, Schindler's List. He was saving Jedi, saving romance and Love Actually, or at least a kid's love life. Christmas, I think technically he was saving there. But Liam Neeson had a fairly varied career. And now when people think Liam Neeson, and remember, this is Liam Neeson of Schindler's List. But when people think of Liam Neeson, they think of, I have a very specific set of skills. That's it. Straight to one phone call. The before Taken and after Taken for not just the topic we're talking about, but specifically his career is insane.
Yeah.
Because the Liam Neeson of Schindler's List did the Taken trilogy. He did 3 Takens, and then he did about 10 more Takens that weren't called Taken. They were just alternate versions of Taken.
Yeah. Which is an interesting kind of, I guess, career decision.
There's somebody whose agent said, do this movie, and he may have thought, okay, well, I'll do one of these. I can be a bit menacing on a phone. I've got, bananas. I've got my lovely accent. He can do whatever he wants, and I respect that. But once he did it, he obviously was okay with taking on more and more and more and more of those roles. But I also assume that he was just being offered more and more and more and more of those roles.
That's what I was going to say is probably the transformation for him, is the fact is that he's getting less of the dramatic roles now, and he's getting more of the offered of the action roles, because he's a very menacing kind of guy.
He's a big tall lad with an Irish accent. Aren't they all scary?
Yeah, we are pretty scary when we're tall.
See, I had to say they because I only have the Irish accent.
And I don't have the Irish accent, so together we make one scary Irish dude.
Yeah, you bring the tall, I'll bring the accent.
But yeah, no, I definitely think that's the case with Liam Neeson. He probably did the Taken trilogy and then started getting offered essentially like kind of movies, in the sense of they just went, oh, he's really kind of taken off with this Taken thing. I definitely think he might be a really good choice for this. So that's why he may just start picking them up going on,
And also, I'll be honest with you, I think Taken may have put him in a great position to do the old one for them, one for me situation, where he could do what they wanted him to do. Like, okay, it's going to be a short shoot. You'll be gone for 2 months. You're going to make this whole action movie, and then we'll let you do the art house film that you want to do. Unfortunately, and a lot of people have forgotten this, he did a really weird interview at one point where he started talking about Akash and all sorts of stuff. Not bringing it up to pick on the guy, but he had to say yes to a lot more of these movies after that than he did before that. So there is another angle to this when you become a habitual almost straight to DVD style action star, and that is maybe if your career has taken a hit from scandal or bad interviews, whatever it might be.
Yeah. So we got a couple more guys that we're going to talk about, and also we're going to talk about maybe more of the business side right after this break.
See you soon. Bye.
Before there was Stranger Things. Before there was Chris Pine. There was Homebrew Quest. Hang on, that doesn't make any sense. Let me start again. YouTube is great for watching Hear Us Out, but what if you'd like a bit of D&D in your life? Homebrew Quest are a bunch of brilliantly creative Irish folks playing a homebrew Dungeons & Dragons campaign inspired by Irish mythology. But even more inspired by the brews they're drinking in each episode. Ireland's supposed to be the land of saints and scholars, but it's also got drinkers and YouTubers, one of which might look a tad familiar. So get yourself over to Homebrew Quest and join the adventure. Links in the description down below, or search term Homebrew Quest. Tell them Hear Us Out sent you. And we were talking Neeson, so let's finish out on Neeson, since there's a Neeson effect to this. He made it very, very clear to everybody, at no matter what point in your career, you can become an action star. Because he was, let's just say he wasn't in his 20s when he did Taken.
No.
And I'm not saying, like, he's a fitter and more handsome man than I am now, and he is significantly older than me. I'll give myself that break. I'm younger than Liam Neeson. There you go.
Yeah.
But you've started to see some other people try the same route a little bit, and I'm looking at you, Aaron Eckhart, with Bricklayer. It's very much feels like he took the Neeson route, and I predict that we may see Aaron Eckhart doing 10 more versions of the Bricklayer or whatever it might be next. He might be doing more Taken-esque movies. And I think there's a huge business side to that, which is agents are saying, hey, look, we got to start playing the game here. We're going to make friends with the right people if you do this movie. Also, it's good pay. You get to work with us. I'm not saying that these movies are bereft of quality, because I love action movies, and I think it's as high an art form as anything else. But as once you've done 10 of them that are a variation of the same thing, you usually find the quality dips. So it'll be interesting to see how many more people take the Neeson route.
Yeah, like that's yeah. I'm sad about, I'm not sad about Aaron Eckhart taking on more actiony roles. I'm sad about not seeing him more on screen. I do enjoy Aaron Eckhart on screen a little bit more. But yeah, no, there's there's just sometimes a business call in the sense of, like, the work is drying up, so let's start kind of targeting certain movie makers and start getting our name in there, so that we are now alongside kind of, who do we get for our action CIA movie? Is it Aaron Eckhart or Liam Neeson, or kind of thing?
Exactly.
Some people want their names to be brought up in that kind of list. I do think that also in not to go too far from this point, there's also a kind of audience appeal that can be done for doing an action movie as well. If you're seen as kind of like a indie movie kind of like aficionado of like, highbrow level kind of stuff, you might not like Andy is this Redmayne.
Oh yeah, Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah, you might not see he doesn't really do action or anything like that. He does very kind of like I would say Oscar kind of level of movie kind of thing.
Except for Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, but he wasn't even actiony in that. Just volume control was a problem. So I do think that certain people will take kind of an action role to kind of maybe appeal to an audience a little bit more, to kind of go, hey, look, I'm not just the kind of like Oscar movie based person. I'm also, which is can play action heroes and stuff like that. Which is, I just choose to do the other. Yeah. But it can also make you more appealing to other. I think it's alongside your idea of kind of going from action to action thriller.
Yeah.
the ability to do that in the sense that not only will you be considered because you know action, but also because the audience will also kind of go, he does action kind of thing, you know?
Well, I think that kind of leads, because there's the business side of it. Um, there's the people who want to hire you and the people who want to get you hired. So there's the studios and your agent. As an actor, I'm pretty sure you just want to work. You want to do the best work you can while you're working. That's it. If it's a great action movie or a great version of a Shakespearean play, I'm pretty sure most actors would be happy enough either way, as long as it's good work that they can be proud of and hopefully get well paid for. I've thrown Silicon Valley up on screen for a very specific reason, because I think Kumail Nanjiani is the most interesting exception, test case, whatever way you want to look at this. That's a comedian. Kumail's a comedian who made their name with Silicon Valley, as in outside of comedy, made their name on TV. Did a brilliant job with, again, one of my favorite films of all time, The Big Sick. Semi-autobiographical, did all the work to make what is essentially one of the better indie films I think ever made. Okay, indie might be a bit of a stretch because he got a decent bit of budget and some help from friends.
Yeah.
Then, was on the ascendancy. Kumail Nanjiani's name got out there. He got, picked for things. He was, and I specifically chose this poster for Stuber because it says Little Driver, Huge Cop.
Yeah.
And this is Kumail Nanjiani today. So Little Driver would not be the way you could ever describe him again. Now, the how and why of Kumail Nanjiani getting buff, it's pretty simple. There's a studio doing very successful comic properties at the time, very successful back then. It was before any wheels came off the wagon. So you got Marvel dominating cinema, who have a role coming up that he could work very well for.
Yeah.
He, is at a point in his career where he can do things that, he'll be offered the same sorts of parts, I'm sure. He'll get to do different sort of dramatic roles. But the idea of, hey, have you ever thought about being, an eternal superhero and working with Marvel, owned by the Disney Corporation, that can then give you every opportunity you'll ever need after this? I can imagine before the phone was hung up by the agent, they were straight into the steroid drawer. And obviously, I'm not casting aspersions. I'm not saying he ever took them. I'm saying that's the way an agent would think. But I'm pretty sure they were like, yes, can Kumail completely transform his body in the next 6 months to be ready for your Eternal shoot? Absolutely, he can. If I have to go out and sit in his back and make him run all day, my actor is going to be ready for your film, Mr. Iger, or whoever was in charge at the time in Disney.
The other aspect of that, not only the kind of the agent getting a good role like that kind of thing, is the contract, like kind of the contract part to it as well, because Disney do not have, as we've seen with Chris Evans and stuff like that, they don't do one contracts. They tend to do a grouping of contracts to lock you down kind of thing, which is the reason why we don't have Captain America and Iron Man anymore. Is because that they came to the end of their contracts kind of role. I think it was like the third kind of rolling contract kind of deal with them.
Yeah.
And that's a really good idea, because like if you get into Marvel will probably have like a 4 contract deal at the start. Now I don't know with the Eternals, they may have had just a 1 because it was a brand new property for them, kind of thing. But I don't see them having less than 4.
Pretty sure they had options on him for sure.
Yeah, kind of thing. So that's another idea in the sense of kind of why you would do action, why would you move into it. If it's a possible trilogy or anything like that, it locks you down for a while in a contract. The other thing is that certain studios will have contracts of you doing a certain amount of movies for them. Marvel is a very specific studio and what they produce, but Paramount can produce anything. And certain actors will definitely take contract deals with Paramount or Universal or specific kind of studios to kind of just be safe, I guess, in one aspect of kind of going, I have a 4 movie contract deal with Paramount. meaning that like, I'm doing the one that I definitely wanted to sign and do, then we'll see what comes down the road, and I'll see what my options are. The last movie in that contract, I can definitely see why actors may dip into the action genre, to maybe get themselves out of the contract, kind of, to get their contract kind of fulfilled, and that kind of stuff. So there's the contract business side of things, which is just like, oh, you can be in this kind of like action movie about, a father and their daughter gets kidnapped and stuff like that, or you could be in this kind of pseudo comedy thing that we have no idea if it's actually going to be good, but we really need to just put something out there because we need to hold this specific copyright kind of thing. So
its marketing budget is currently 2 apple pies and a packet of crisps. Yeah, that's yeah.
Kind of thing. So there's that contract business deal, kind of to do it, and then there's the pressure from a studio as well. Like, also, were you going to talk about the contract thing?
No, go for it, because you're going the direction I'm going.
Yeah, the pressure of studios also can be a big thing, and I don't mean that you're in a contract with them and they want you to do a specific thing. It could be just that they want you to do a certain movie, because like, John Wick, which is Keanu Reeves, like. Like, John Wick is a really, really good series. I really enjoy it and everything like that. By the 4th movie, I was kind of like, this is just painful. It's great. I really enjoyed the 4th one. It was fantastic and stuff. I really liked it. But you could definitely tell that that's where a studio could definitely put a pressure of kind of going, we want one more. We want one more of this movie. You have to be in it, kind of thing. We need you to be in it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. We will throw as much money as we need to, kind of like they put a lot of pressure on you to complete a character's maybe arc for money, not because of the completion of the actual story.
And for quid pro quo, they'll definitely say, hey, will you do this extra just this? We promise you, your character's not coming back after this. We'll pay you extra money, but also, the way we heard you have the rights to that, like, little known Hungarian book about the farmer who sews silk shoes, and you've been trying to get somebody to let you direct it and make it. Well, if you do Iron Man 15, then Robert Downey Jr., you, sir, will be directing your very own Hungarian silk shoe farmer. So there's definitely multiple incentives. There will be the incentive of we'll let you direct the next one. We'll let you do this. We'll let you do that. But you're right. The extra pressure that sometimes comes is, please do one more so that we can milk it, but also maybe even set up a spin-off. We'll introduce 2 characters. Whichever one of them works, they're carrying it on from here on out. That sort of stuff is pretty obviously happening out there.
Yeah, because for example, I think Matrix 5 has finally been confirmed. And now don't call me on that. I saw it in a passing kind of thing. But yeah, Matrix 5 has been considered. I don't know if Keanu Reeves really wants to do that kind of thing, but it could be a contractual thing or just pressure from a thing. Or he may want to, like, I'm not in the man's head, so
no,
Keanu Reeves could.
I'd hope that we'd seen the end of, like, we link somewhere in the description below, or maybe a card above, recently talked about how The Matrix would have been better off if it was a 1-movie franchise. So hearing just numbers of days after saying that there was a 5th film made me sad.
Yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know. Like, as I said, Keanu Reeves could be looking at the script and going, "That's great. I actually really want this. Could be really fun." But Matrix is the type of film series that can go on forever. All you need is different iterations and stuff like that. I just saw the chat, Matrix 5 why, but I don't know it. Oh, sorry, I know exactly why.
Money. Yeah, the answer is as depressing as the reality of it being made. Paul,
even though the Matrix has got to have like diminishing returns by now, right?
I would think so. After it's not like 4 was internationally revered and has a fan club, the size of a continent. But just because we got to get Camille off the screen because I'm starting to feel really bad about my own physical shape. There is, when I mentioned him at the start, I said he's a weird anti-case for what we're talking about, and what I meant by that was he's rather uniquely placed. Like there's a guy that can definitely act. He's definitely funny. He wonderful, creative, excellent actor. Added action, but did it in the way that we're talking about. If you do action, hey, you're also eligible for superhero movies. Well, he didn't do it and be eligible for superhero movies. He went straight in at the top, and he's like, yeah, I'm on the Marvel bus, and that's what I'm getting buff for. And I respect the guy getting buff, and he seems very happy with it, and it's all awesome. He looks great. It's all good. There's one slight problem with his career now, and that is what he was originally being cast as. He's not going to be anymore. There is sometimes a reversal in this. Dev Patel, after Monkey Man, is going to have shown all of the people in DC, all of the people in Marvel, all of the whatever else. Yeah, you can be taken seriously as somebody who's beaten somebody, halfway across a room. Now we actually do have a space on one of our superhero teams where you don't actually have to do the nasty part, or maybe you do, but at least we know you've got the goods. We know that you can, you can work with stunt coordinators, etc., etc., etc. Kumail Nanjiani is in a very different boat now because he is seen as a completely different actor for completely different roles. And I'm sure he doesn't give a crap because maybe what he was getting offered was the IT guy for like the first 20 years of his career. And he's like, you know what? They're not going to offer me the IT guy after the Eternals. And that's good enough. And if any part of that guess I just had is true, well, screw the world, number one, for being like that. But number two, I really hope that it's worked out that way for him, that he doesn't have to live with that feckin' insult from everybody all the time going, would you like to play the stereotype that you already know you have to live with?
Yeah, breaking the typecast mold is probably a big motivator towards going towards some of these movie types. Kind of thing, especially because we've definitely had comedic, because we've also had comedic actors who've moved into more dramatic elements, and then obviously more comedic actors moving into more action. And I do think that they're for comedy to action. I definitely think it's to break a mold or a typecast kind of thing, for in a big way. So that's another motivator essentially towards the action thing.
Well, and I'm actually going to flash up Bruce Willis because I know he didn't have a huge career, so he doesn't quite fit necessarily. I know I was talking about people who, had established themselves as one thing and then became another. I think even though his career was relatively short, Moonlighting was such a massive hit. The idea of him going from Moonlighting to Die Hard was a surprise for everybody. And you can't think of Bruce Willis without thinking action star now. He was one of the Planet Hollywood, like, action elite, for so long after Die Hard.
Yeah, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, and Bruce Willis were the big three. Like, just to say, Moonlight was such a comedic hit that when he decided to do Die Hard, the first movie poster only had the Nakatomi Plaza on it because marketing didn't think it would be a good idea to show Bruce Willis on the poster because they thought that the audience would just be like, why is Bruce Willis, that Moonlight comedic actor, on an action film kind of thing? It wasn't until the release of the trailer that they started showing his face with the posters, kind of thing, and then obviously his career exploded within the action kind of genre.
And that says it all as to why it's a good idea. Now, I want to throw very quickly to Brian's comment, because he's asking Michael Keaton, specifically Michael Keaton going to Batman. Yeah, Keaton had done Mr. Mom, all sorts of like stuff, gung ho. He'd had a heck of a career that wasn't action based before Batman. And he was a very interesting choice for Batman, to be fair. A lot of people were like, oh, really? Huh? And as we all know, history has proven it to be an inspired choice. Did he really become an action star because of it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if I include his performance in Batman as action as much as it was moving, really well in that very stiff neck. I love the movie, by the way, and I love Michael Keaton. But yeah, I think he's an interesting one because there's somebody who showed that you can broaden your appeal. I would say it definitely helped the second half of his career quite a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say that the Batman was probably. I would also say that it was Kevin Cleary who did the who made the comments.
Sorry, Kevin.
Which goes, yeah, I do agree that Michael Keaton probably did Batman to open the door, because now doing obviously Spider-Man as the Vulture, and which goes in Birdman as well, even though it's not a true kind of like superhero kind of movie, it definitely opened the door towards him. And I think that's kind of where that choice came from, was essentially, I can do comic book movies, I can do slight action, I'm happy to do it as long as the script is good.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So in honor of the time that we have left, and Kevin, I really do apologize for my bad eyesight picking out the wrong username there. Get in another comment. You can ask any question you want and it will be responded to instantaneously now. How about we do a quick rundown of some other surprises that did and didn't work in varying degrees? I think Adrian Brody is a really weird, hilarious one for me. Because he went from Oscar-winning actor in The Pianist to basically really surprisingly beating the crap out of The Predator. And his career since then has been doing a little bit of both every now and again. Like, his IMDb page is confusing as F ever since Predator.
If we could definitely say that it's like one for me, one for you kind of thing, where it's just like I'm having fun doing action, and here's me being more serious kind of thing. But yeah, just related to one of the comments, yeah, it could be entirely that they just want the trainer and the nutritionist and stuff like that paid for by a studio to get them buff.
Oh yeah,
kind of thing.
Well, I'd do it.
Who else do we have on the list?
Well, I'll quickly, because Kevin, I promise you, his Vulture is one of the top 10 MCU villains. I will go better than that, Kevin. I agree with you so much that I'll say Michael Keaton's Vulture is one of the top 5 MCU villains. I absolutely love his Adrian Toomes. I think he was brilliant. But speaking of Oscar winners, and thank you for that comment, very much appreciated. Charlize Theron started off, kind of had her big breakout, 2 Days in the Valley. Then, worked with greats. Al Pacino. She worked with brilliant directors. She worked with, Devil's Advocate is an example of, she was picked by quality directors, quality people, because she's a quality actress. And then she got as far as Monster, which, won her an Oscar. Incredible performance by an incredible actress. But then you have to look at the other side of her career, which is Aeon Flux, Atomic Blonde, Mad Max, Old Guard. She definitely has a half a career in action. Like, there's no two ways about it.
Like, yeah, what was the other one? Hancock. She was also in Hancock as well.
She was in Hancock as well, yeah.
Semi kind of, I guess, closest to Marvel and DC kind of hero thing that you would get, kind of thing. So that's an interesting one as well. But yeah, Atomic Blondes and stuff like that is a great one.
And really quickly, Paul, while we're closing it out on Oscar winners, Nicolas Cage with his Oscar. Nick Cage is always the answer to everything. If you're into cars, you'll be familiar with Miata is always the answer. Well, Nick Cage is the equivalent for films. I don't understand Nicolas Cage, but I love Nicolas Cage. And he did Leaving Las Vegas, which got him an Oscar. And Paul, before that, he'd done Coen Brothers movies, he'd done indies, he'd done interesting, weird stuff. He'd had quite a long and storied career. And the next 3 films he did after Leaving Las Vegas were The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off.
Yeah.
I'm going to call that a transition to action. Like, put the bunny back in the basket. I'm not even going to do his action quotes from the other 2 because some of them are just so weird, and doing Face Off feels weird for anybody who hasn't seen the movie and doesn't get that. Makes me look like a crazy person.
Tie a ribbon around the old oak tree. I'm coming home. That's my Con Air one.
It's incredible. Nick Cage had an amazing career, and then I think him and everybody around him thought, "Action, Nick," and he probably went, "Yes, I will do one of everything before I die."
Yeah. I do so that Nick Cage as a cheat, he does too many. He's only recently gone into the overdrive of doing too many. I will point out that is only probably in the last like decade and a half that he's really upped his game about how many movies he's in, kind of thing. But it's interesting to see. Yeah, he went from drama to The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off pretty much immediately. The next three, like as we said, some people have gone action, so The Rock. Then he could have gone something else, kind of dramatic, and then gone Con Air, But he went, The Rock, Con Air. But see, this could also be a link towards a studio, particularly, or a director or something like that, kind of thing.
It's true. And Paul, I still, I'm trying to make it up to you, Kevin, but I don't have to, because this is one I definitely want to talk about before we end the show. Good shout, and this is in relation to Predator for sure. So it's about Adrian Brody, surprising as he is as an action star. But Kevin's comment says Vincent D'Onofrio, and for anybody out there who doesn't know Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin in the Daredevil series, you might know him as Private Pyle in Full Metal Jacket, or any one of a number of crazy things. And as the comment says, Vincent D'Onofrio has been all over the place acting wise, but his Kingpin gave chills. I'm going to go ahead and say that embodies the Nick Cage of all Nick Cages there too, because D'Onofrio he's been all over the map. But when he does action, you really realize how big a guy he is. When he does something that involves him being menacing, but he's never quite he's never landed, or at least he's never maybe even tried. He's never landed the action lead role.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah.
I don't think so anyway. Correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah. Recently, a decade, but in film terms, a decade isn't that long. So as much as you're trying to put me on the spot there, Kev, about me saying recently, Nick Cage has done a lot of movies in the last decade. Think about the amount of movies that come out that get made in a year.
But how dare you suggest that Nick Cage years and our years are the same things? Like that's on the dog years thing alone. Like Nick Cage decades are they are both moments in time and eons for us, because he transcends all time and space, and mostly entertainment. I have spoken at length how I think Nick Cage may well be the missing link between us and parallel universes, because there's something special about that man. So any more comments before we wrap up?
Tyler Perry.
Did he do? I don't know. There's one you've stumped me now, so I don't know Tyler Perry's IMDb well enough, but that there could be a surprise action turn in there somewhere. I know there are lots of examples of people who've dipped in for one movie and kind of came out again. There are more of those than there are people who've done multiple movies. That's for sure.
That's the idea. Our idea is that it seems like they've either transitioned into action, or action has become a mainstay for their kind of career.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So to sum it up, Paul, the actor themselves could want to do it for a bit of freshness, for a break, to prove that they can, to show their range, to maybe get a good trainer and get themselves healthy. And they've always wondered if they could be, super fit and buff. Their agent, it's going to open the door for you to not only have action movies, which if they're hits tend to have sequels. That's good business for you and your agent's, kids that he's putting through college or she's putting through college. Then you've opened up other avenues of, well, now maybe are you eligible for superhero roles or thrillers, etc., that have an action slant to them. And from the studio's point of view, they know us. All they have is data on what we watch. You get yourself a Nobody the movie, and you put the right Nobody in it, you'll get extra people going to see it because they're curious. Can this actor do it? I love this actor, fan of the actor. It gives more to the character. There are so many business reasons to do it. And also, I can only imagine this is the case, Paul. You brought up the brilliant point about contracts and how you get, it's show business, not show friends. There is one more angle to that. They may also say, hey, you haven't worked in a little while. Would you do this one cheaply? Because we're not necessarily going to put out... Taken wasn't a 16 billboard movie. I think people forget that. It was a huge hit, but it was not, hey, everybody, our big blockbuster is Liam Neeson in Taken. It was a studio going, the numbers work in this. Neeson will do it. Cool. We've got Oscar winner Liam Neeson. Let's go. It was not the same as, planned 2 years in advance that it was going to be their big blockbuster movie.
Yeah, that's a big tell towards it. I will have to say that for myself, I would think that the biggest pull towards action is definitely because who doesn't want to be an action star?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, I definitely think business and stuff like that and all the things that we were talking about, I do think the biggest thing is just like, you definitely I want to be, since you're a kid, you're just like, I want to be the hero.
And you know what? I absolutely would understand it myself. And I'd agree with you 100%. The draw is, there's no downside to it for me because honestly, Paul, if I wanted to look back on a career in acting and I didn't have proof that I did that, I wouldn't be able to say that I rounded myself. I don't think action films are a lesser form of the movie art. I think they're just another facet. It's why so many people have tried over the years to do a comedy. Look, it nearly destroyed. How many weeks are we going to go through where I accidentally bring up Proud Robert De Niro, one of the great actors of all time, and the only thing I end up saying is he obviously really wanted to try and be funny, and it was maybe not the right choice. But there are so many actors who thought comedy was the thing that they could never quite nail, because it is incredibly hard. Action is too. Drama, they're all equally difficult. They're just different genres in that same big old thing we call movie business.
Movie business. Kevin said, wish that Donald Glover might make the move soon. I don't think he'll make the move soon. I think he enjoys what he's doing right now. So I do think he'll stay there.
Yep. So if we've missed anybody or if we've missed any good points, let us know in the comments down below. All of you people watching live, thank you so much for the comments. You've absolutely made the show. For anybody watching out there in Futureland, I hope the weather's good. You could do me the little favor of liking this video if you have enjoyed, and if you made it this far, I have to assume you did, or else you're watching for a lot of rage. And if you're not already, please feel free to be a subscriber. A very small percentage of our viewers are actually subscribers. So if you're viewing right now, chances are you've forgotten to give us a little subscribe. Costs you nothing, but means the world to us. So would appreciate. Paul, you want to say goodbye to the kind folks out there who are all currently doing press-ups to try and look like Dev Patel?
Do 5 more. I've been Paul.
And I've been Patrick.
We've been Hear Us Out.
Pump iron, folks. Pump iron. We'll see you soon.